I just got back from Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I wanted to come right to the studio to give you a recap of the weekend, but also some of these insights that I thought about, specifically how I ended up doing art in the middle of arenas during sports halftimes, and why does it keep working? And the insights that I took away from this weekend, and the more that I've thought about it over the years, I think that this will be able to apply to not only the artists that may be watching this, but those of you that may also have a product or service, and you have to start applying this way of thinking of when they leave, how did I make them feel? So we'll get more into that. We are all on our paint journey, but where are we now? And where do we go next? This is how. Passion, action, intent, new, teach. This is the paint method. Now, those of you who are new to the Paint Method podcast, welcome. I appreciate you. However you've been, if you've been shared this, or if you found me on social media, I just want to say first, thank you. And those of you who are coming back, welcome back. So yes, this weekend I was in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I've been there many times, but this was a very special weekend to be there because I was there to perform halftime for the WNBA, specifically the Minnesota Lynx versus the Indiana Fever. Now, if you've been following sports, or even if you're a non-sports person, you've heard the name Caitlin Clark. Now, she plays for the Indiana Fever, who was the visiting team, but she has this following that's a literally, no pun intended, feverish following. And the games that her team has been at have been sold out. And so it was really interesting to be there on the specific day, one for the energy, but what's crazy is Caitlin Clark is new to the WNBA, but the person that we were honoring is truly a goat of the game. Now, her name is Maya Moore. And if any quick Google search of her will share these incredible stats about her. Now, she is a four-time WNBA champion. She's won multiple MVP awards. She's a gold medalist, six-time WNBA All-Star, and one of only 11 women to earn a gold medal, an NCAA championship, FIBA gold, and a WNBA champ on top of all that. And what makes her even more incredible is her the purpose that she has for social justice, being a social justice activist. So, but we were there for her retirement, jersey retirement, and I was there to perform the halftime of her. And so, I love these ceremonies because it's a way for people to give someone their flowers while they can still smell them. And she has earned every right and every bit of that, to see her number retired and also to be remembered beyond that day as the game goes forward. As we saw, Caitlin Clark is this one of many athletes that are taking this sport forward. But Maya Moore definitely set the bar high, and she was being recognized and honored for that. So it was a true honor to be there. Now, once they got there, and by the way, you can see some of the clips of this halftime across my social media platforms. So anyone that you go to, you will see them there. But these halftimes are not easy by any stretch of the imagination. It is one of the most high pressure and technical environments to do this style of performance that I do, of performance painting. And part of that is most shows is we have time to set up on the side and preset things before we go out onto the stage. The stage is set. But these environments is everything has to be done off the court, set up within or less than a minute. And then I only get about 6 minutes to perform each portrait, no longer. And then they have less than a minute to break down and get off the court. Now, this is mostly the case because these sports teams are being televised. And if you go over a certain time into the commercial time, the team or someone gets fined. I've been told this over the years that if I go over, it'll affect the team, whether it's fine. So either way, the pressure is there and it's on. And I feel it when I'm preparing, when I'm doing it. But when I think about, over the years, as high pressure as that situation is, I know it's still art being created during a sports game. And it's probably one of the last places that you would think that art would be accepted or would thrive in that environment. But for some reason, it has. And I don't think that it's just unique to me. I think that it goes deeper than that. And I'll share why. Now, my brief history of doing halftimes, I've been doing them for the past maybe 15 plus years. The first one that I tried to do, I grew up in Sacramento. So, being a fan of the Kings, I somehow found the information of the person who books the entertainment for the Sacramento Kings. And I got his number, I gave him a call, and I said, I want to do a halftime. And he started asking me these questions that I didn't have answers for because I had never done this before. So he was sweet, he was kind, and he's like, "Look, man, maybe if we'll take a chance some other time." Not too long after that, I started building my name and my brand, and the first team to give me a chance to do a halftime was the Golden State Warriors. And that was a special game because I came out and did a portrait of their local legend and the rock legend, Carlos Santana. And there's video of this and there's photos of this online. It was such a cool moment. I was painting his portrait, my first NBA halftime, and then Carlos Santana comes up behind me and surprises me. And I'm like, what? This is such a crazy, cool moment. And I just knew from that point on, I got to figure this out. I need to get better at this. And as the years went on, I started improving the process of creating these portraits along the way. But as time has gone on, I still ask myself, like, why does this art creation style work here in these sports environments? And I started thinking more about the emotions that it leaves the audience. Now, I think that this can apply to not just artists, but also those of you who maybe are entrepreneurs. And you start to think about, how do I want to grow my business? But most importantly, how do I want to make people want to come back and keep doing business with me? And it really comes down to this, what I've sort of discovered over this time, and that is how you make them feel when they go away. Now, when I'm on that court and I go out, most people are being introduced to me for the first time. Maybe some have recognized my name or seen me do a performance before, but most people at these sports team are watching this thinking, why is there an artist in the middle of the court? Why can't they just get a dancer or a singer or an acrobat? But they're like, okay, I'll just stay and watch. And the first few brushstrokes feel like them cheering on their team. That when it feels like when your favorite team is behind and you're like, I don't know if they can pull this off. That's usually what the portrait feels like. And as the portrait starts to come to life, maybe there's a section of it some of them start to recognize, and they start to maybe think to themselves, I think that they can pull this off. I think that the artist could finish his portrait, or I think my team can win. It's a very similar emotion. And then we get to the end result. The portrait is complete and the audience is cheering and they feel like, what just happened? We just won. In a sense, they did. They cheered me on. But the emotions that they go through along the way are why this art form has worked so well in these environments. And I've given more thought to this as the years go on, and I've tried to design the experience and not just hope that they feel this way, but actually design the experience to take them through those emotions. And that is not just through the painting process. Sometimes the paintings are upside down, sometimes they're done in multiple parts. It is also done through the design of the sound and the music and the effects in there. And so we take them on this emotional journey. Now, I'm sharing this with you because if you're an artist or you're an entrepreneur and you have a product or service, I think that you've got to ask yourself these questions that are beyond what you just produce. You have to produce a great product that goes without being said. You don't have a business unless you're solving a problem. But if you want people to keep coming back to you, and why I think we've been doing these half times now for 15 plus years, and why most companies continue to grow and they continue to meet new customers is this one reason, which is how do you make people feel when you leave, and how do you make them feel during the process of it? And I shared the example of sports fans, the emotions that we take them through that are very similar to how they follow a sports team in a game environment. And then I think about the music environments that I perform in, and how the experience is designed, again, feels like a concert, how it's presented. They feel like, wow, this is like a show that I want to be at. I want to cheer on. Others are in sort of general entertainment environments, whether it's a private event, a corporate event, but how we make them feel is as important as the image that I'm creating. And so, as you, an artist or an entrepreneur, are choosing, what do I create, and also when I create it, how do I make sure that my audience or my customers are coming back? So yes, choose your image. It is absolutely important, and your product, it needs to be top notch. But also think about the experience from inquiry to follow up afterwards and everything in between. How do you make them feel along the way? That is the answer of one, how you, because they're going to talk about this with other people when they recommend you. They're like, I don't know why, but I just really enjoyed the process, and you really need to work with this person. And then the last part is, what is the final image or the product? How does it make them feel? Because it's not just you're producing something great. If you are an entrepreneur and you have a pressure washing business, yes, cleaning the sidewalk is essential part of what you do. But also, it's important that they feel like this was a convenience to them, that they feel like it's great to be outside now, and I don't have to worry about me having to clean this up myself. And that experience from beginning to end, they feel excited about this. They feel good, and they want to see you again. So, in general, I want to leave you with this, and this challenge is beyond what you are creating. Is I want you to think about, how do you make people feel when they walk away? There's this saying that people may not remember what you do, what you say, but they'll always remember how you make them feel. That applies to all of us, no matter what we are doing and producing and putting out to this world. Now, as I go forward into my half times in sports events, I will continue to think about this, because I want the audience to walk away feeling like, I want to see this again. But I also want my clients to come back and say, wow, this experience from beginning to end was incredible, and we felt amazing throughout the whole process. And I'll continue to do that. But that is also my challenge to you. And I'll just add with this one last thing is, the paint method is about taking into account where you are on your paint journey. And if you're new to this, paint is passion, action, intent, new, and teach. And we all fall somewhere on this journey. And knowing where you fall, knowing where you are, if you're in the passion phase, building this sort of product or building your art career, and you're starting to apply action, this action phase is where you start to design. And keep in mind, how do people feel along the way as part of this process that I'm providing, and this experience that I'm providing for them? And this is where you start to ask yourself these questions. And as you answer them, it's what helps you move on to that next step. Because if we're putting discipline in the action phase to create better experiences for our collectors or customers, it helps sustain our business. It gives us momentum as we build our brand, and we can move on and create the next step, which is intent, which we'll talk about at a later date. But I just want to keep asking yourself these questions about your process and the experience, and how you make them feel when they leave and when you walk away. I hope you're enjoying these stories. You can also see clips again of this halftime across my social platforms. And I just want to thank you again for those of you who are listening to these podcasts. If you're listening to this on an audio platform, maybe someone sent this to you. I would just ask that if you are enjoying this, to hit the follow button, and you get updated anytime we post a new episode. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I would just ask that you would consider subscribing, liking, and just leave a comment of what you liked best about this message down below. I greatly, greatly appreciate it, and it'll help grow these channels. So until the next time, my name is David Garibaldi. You can follow me at Garibaldi Arts across all social platforms. And wherever you are on your paint journey, I hope that wherever it is, you know that you can create what comes next. You don't have to wait for someone else to decide what that is. You are the artist, you are creating, and you create that next step. All right, my name is David Garibaldi. I will see you soon.